To be reformed is to continually let your theology tackle the questions that come from our society. I think that the church today is challenged to be in the public sphere, to tackle issues that the society poses on us, and not to be scared to tackle such issues. This is why our theology needs to be reforming according to the challenges that come from the public sphere.
Theology is a way of life. It's about intentional discipleship. You live out your life and not write theology, but live theology. Make an attempt to imitate the one who called you to communion and the one who called you to justice. That is Jesus. When you imitate Jesus, you do theology. And especially the WCRC challenges its members do theology of life. Affirming life, at the same time giving space for various expressions of theology. And this is the speciality of WCRC.
We do theology for transformation by working together contextually and constructively. A big part of the shaping of this comes from the standpoint that we take. We begin from the standpoint of the suffering in our world, partly because we believe that's where God stands, and we should be standing where God stands. And from that perspective, we see the world differently, and we engage in a world-transforming work that is God's work in the world that we seek to join in with our efforts. We want to see the world from the underside. It looks very different depending on the standpoint one takes. We want to transform in such a way that there is the flourishing of life for all, not just the few. So that means some things need to change in our world, and our theology is brought to bear upon the situation of the world in ways that inspire and ignite action. Jesus ministered from the margins to the margins, and it was his deep concern for the least, the lost, the last, the left behind that I think was so unsettling to the powers of his day. The principalities and powers crucified him precisely because of a very different way of being in the world that challenged those principalities and powers.
To me, I think the formation, reformation, and transformation work together. So we are formed by our own communities, but that community is never complete or perfect. And that's the key to Reformed theology, that we are sinful, in need of redemption, but we are justified by faith so that we can still act on and seeking that grace of God. So, that's a holy call and a very exciting thing about engaging the world in that way.
Another one is about theology. Africa is a home of great epistemologies, and many theologians have been born in Africa. And we are proud to say, for example, there are two confessions that are held in esteem within the WCRC, those being Bela Confession and the Accra Confession. And we have African theology, and we have Black theology of liberation. Those are some of the liberation of the theologies that you find in Africa. And therefore, theology that is born out of Africa needs to be catapulted to the level of the global epistemological bodies.
We do theology for a purpose. Theology is not to kind of preserve a certain confessional identity, but to guide the church in its witness. And therefore, as we have been saying many times, we ask what God is calling us to do and try to live it out in our proclamation, in our